A lot to be proud of, and it all happened so fast, like it's hard to appreciate in the moment.
That is Iowa native and Indiana Fever star, and now Times 2024 Athlete of the Year, Caitlin Clark, looking back at a whirlwind year.
The lack of clear direction and easy scoring opportunities for the Sun exposed the flaws in Christie Sides' defensive approach. This wasn't just a one-time issue.
So, Caitlin Clark and Christie Sides. Christie Sides, the first WNBA coach that Caitlin Clark played for. And surprisingly, even though in her recent Time article, she was very positive around WNBA coaches in general. She was very positive around how good the quality of coaching was in the WNBA, but she took a not so subtle jab at Caitlin Clark, at Christie Sides today.
It happened repeatedly throughout the season. Imagine a coach from the 1980s suddenly coaching today's fast-paced basketball. Sides' approach seemed outdated, relying on simple instructions like just stop your man without any real strategy. While she could motivate the team, the coaching itself was lacking. Caitlin Clark, a sharp player with a deep basketball IQ, spoke candidly about the team's struggles. She admitted that the Fever's game plans were often...
Time magazine recognizes the monster impact Clark had on basketball, saying good luck naming another athlete who altered the trajectory of their entire team sport within 5 months on the job.
...often ineffective. We didn't usually have the best game plan, Clark said, reflecting on how Sides didn't always offer clear solutions. Even though Clark wasn't one to criticize her team publicly, her words carried a lot of weight, especially since she was the team's star player. The issues went beyond the game plan. Sides also struggled with managing player rotations and emotions during games. It wasn't uncommon to see the starters play the entire game or, at other times, be
for college basketball history. She does it with a foul shot. Caitlin Clark becomes the all-time leading scorer in major college basketball history. Passing, pistol, defense.
Be benched for no clear reason. Take the LA game, for example. Sides didn't call a timeout for over 17 minutes, from the 7-minute mark of the third quarter until the final minute of the fourth. That decision, or lack thereof, played a big role in the outcome of that game. As the season went on, both fans and analysts began to voice their concerns. It was clear, Sides was holding the team back. Some even called her one of the worst coaches in WNBA history. One harsh comment referred to her as the kryptonite to Caitlin Clark's Superman powers. The pressure on Sides grew as her inability to make key in-game adjustments became increasingly obvious. In critical moments, poor decisions cost the team, leaving everyone confused. It was like watching a chess match where
we were just sick that we had lost so many games, and also feeling like we were better than that.
One side refused to make a move. The game was over before it even began. One of the most telling moments came when Caitlin Clark made a subtle remark about Sides. It was clear, something had to change. When Marina May hit that three-pointer, the Indiana Fever lost the game. From the start, I've always said the main issue was that the team lacked a solid defensive strategy. There was no clear plan for how to handle screens, when to switch players, when to go under a screen, or how to fight through them. Defensively, they were just making it up as they went along. The team's defense seemed to be based on the idea that they should simply let the other team score less than them. But here's where things get interesting. Despite all the challenges and setbacks, the Fever started to improve. Maybe it was the raw talent of players like Clark, Aaliyah Boston.
Obviously, I don't think Caitlin Clark had anything to do with Christie Sides firing. I think Christie Sides' inability to coach basketball had everything to do with her firing, and I mean that. I think the reason why Christie Sides got fired is because she's not a very good basketball coach. And I think that if you put in any sort of competent basketball mind, you can tell she's not a very good basketball.
Like Clark, Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, and Lexi Hull, or maybe it was the team's determination to keep fighting through tough times. Whatever the reason, the Fever made an incredible comeback, earning a spot in the playoffs for the first time since 2016. It was an impressive turnaround, given where they started, but even as they celebrated, it was clear something was still missing. The team hadn't succeeded because of their coach, but in spite of her. Christie Sides, the head coach at the time, seemed to be winging it. She never had a
You don't know how to use Caitlin Clark's strengths. You don't know how to play to her weaknesses. You don't know how to draw up a simple out-of-bounds play. You don't know how to calm down muddy waters. You don't know how to call a timeout and relax everybody's emotions. You don't know how to talk to the referees. All you know how to do is wave your arms and defensive slide on the sidelines. And Christie Sides, I'm tired of seeing it every single.
She never had a deep understanding of basketball strategy and instead resorted to watching YouTube videos to find basic plays. Her coaching system was so basic, it could have been replaced by someone in the stands using AI. The truth is, Sides wasn't up to the job of coaching at a professional level. As the season ended, the Fever's management knew it was time for a change. While Sides had led them to the postseason,
A lot of the things she did well were like good assistant coach things. Things you want from a good assistant coach. Not your head coach. Was she good in game adjustments? No. Was she good at making subs? No. Was she good at making, like, seeing what the other teams were doing and game planning for that? No.
Season, the team's true potential was much higher than what they'd shown. To compete for a championship, they needed a coach who could tap into that potential. So, they made the decision to part ways with Sides and move on to the next chapter. With a star like Caitlin Clark on the roster, the Fever needed a coach who could match her level of talent. Sides, despite being a good motivational speaker, didn't have the...
Imagine if you were like a coach from the 80s and you got bumped into today's basketball and it's just, go stop your man, go stop your man. Like, I mean, she was a motivational speaker. But listen to what Caitlin Clark said. Clark knows she can get better. She expresses admirations for Clark's game plans against the Fever. We didn't usually have the best game plan back, Clark said when White stopped by the gym during a workout. Like, here's a ball screen. Caitlin, figure it out.
To help this team succeed. The Fever needed more than just someone to motivate them. They needed someone who could help them become a real contender. That's where Stephanie White comes in. The Fever needed more than just a coach. They needed a visionary. White's return to the team is a homecoming of sorts, as she has 25 years of experience with the franchise, both as a player and a coach. She knows the team inside and out, but don't expect her to just keep things the same. White is ready to shake things up and bring fresh ideas. Her
Christie Sides' incompetence is why that game ended up that way. She doesn't call timeout for about a 17-minute span from the 7+ minute mark of the third quarter to about the final minute of the fourth.
Ideas. Her track record speaks for itself. When she coached the Connecticut Sun, she led them to a top 3 finish in the league in her first season, earning Coach of the Year honors. The Fever are hoping for the same kind of immediate success with White at the helm. She's ready to bring a new energy to the team. Her philosophy? Let the players play freely and trust their instincts. It's not just about running plays, but creating a system where the players have the freedom to make plays and use their skills in the best possible way. Coach White's approach to the game is all about giving players the freedom to make decisions and play to their strengths. Instead of relying on rigid play calls or following a strict...
My favorite part is that the not-so-subtle shot that Caitlin Clark took at Christie Sides was literally, in my opinion, the one play when Marina Maber hit that 3, the reason why they lost that game. I've always said this from the start. They have no philosophy on defense. They have no philosophy on how to play screens. They have no philosophy on when to switch, when to go under, when to fight over. Everybody was out there winging it on defense. Her defensive philosophy was make sure the other team scores less points than us.
Strict playbook, she focuses on creating space for players to operate. The system lets players read the situation and choose from a few options, allowing them to adapt to what's happening on the court. What's really exciting is that White's philosophy is about unlocking the full potential of her players.